A 16-year-old boy charged with 4 Cincinnati murders will be prosecuted as an adult. The killings happened 2 years ago when the boy was just 14. A juvenile judge today set his bond at $2.7 million cash.
Prosecutors say this 16-year-old boy is unlike any other underage accused killer in Hamilton County history.
The defendant is beyond rehabilitation for the crimes that he has committed here.
Assistant Prosecutor Linda Scott says the boy was just 14 when he was involved in crimes that resulted in 4 people getting killed. In 3 of those incidents, he's charged with firing shots at people who died.
It's not often where I see a headline that genuinely shocks me, but today was different. In the streets, young kids are often used as pawns by adults to do the things that they don't want to do themselves. Child soldiers are easier to manipulate, and you can convince them to crash out since they don't think too far ahead or have developed critical thinking skills yet. The subject of today's video was a young teen hired by grown men to carry out assassinations. Similar to the story of Yummy Sandifer, the subject of today's video was sent out to commit murders despite the fact that he wasn't even old enough to drive yet. At an age where most young males are playing Madden and NBA 2K all day, his heart had already gone cold from all of the violence that surrounded him. In today's video, we'll be discussing a 14-year-old named Mikeem that was charged with 4 murders committed in a 4-month span and laughed at the victims' families as he was sentenced to decades behind bars. But before we get into the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Mikeem Thomas, born on August 28, 2006, is from Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati is best known for Joe Burrow and the Bengals, but there's actually a lot of crime going on there, especially amongst teenagers. In 2023, a record number of teenagers were shot in the city, despite crime as a whole decreasing there. Mikeem became attracted to the streets and wanted to prove himself. According to prosecutors, he wanted to become a killer in order to make money. He would rob people at gunpoint, and he would make himself available to be hired as a hitman. Mikeem often committed his crimes with other people. His killing spree would allegedly begin after a robbery that he and his associates participated in went horribly wrong. On October 25, 2020, Mikeem and 2 of his associates named Davon Lipscomb and Robert Alley went out to commit an armed robbery that they planned. Mikeem was 14, Davon was 19, and Robert was 20. They went to the 2000 block of Bickle Avenue in South Fairmont just after 7:30 p.m. Once they spotted their target, Davon walked up to the target's car and pointed a gun at a woman in the passenger seat. Once the target saw this, the target pulled out their own gun and shot Davon multiple times. Davon was transported to University of Cincinnati Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead at just 19 years old. Down the line, when they eventually got arrested, both Mikeem and Robert were charged with murder for Davon's death, even though they weren't the ones who killed him. The reason they were charged is because legally, if someone dies during the commission of a crime, all people involved in that crime get charged with murder. Prior to his arrest, Mikeem would commit his first official murder in what prosecutors would describe as an audition to become a hitman. On February 1st, 2021, Mikeem allegedly used Facebook to lure a man named Terrence North and another man to a location in South Fairmont in the 2400 block of Saturn Avenue around 9:45 p.m. Once the men pulled up, Mikeem allegedly shot up their car, striking both of them. They were taken to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, where Terrence was tragically pronounced dead upon arrival at just 19 years old. The man with him was shot in the face but survived his injuries. According to prosecutors, Mikeem kept a photo of Terrence's funeral service information on his cell phone. About 2 weeks after this murder, Mikeem would get hired to kill someone for the first time. A man named Carl Godfrey had hired Mikeem and 2 other people to kill a man that Carl owed money. On February 16, 2021, Mikeem and his associates would go out to complete the task. On this day, Mikeem an 18-year-old named Jason Gray, and a 30-year-old named Mario Gordon were being driven by a 49-year-old named Connor Anabney as they looked for the target they were hired to kill. It was still around 4 p.m. in broad daylight in the 2700 block of Montana Avenue when they spotted their target sitting in an SUV and opened fire on it. They fired up to 21 shots into the SUV. The car they allegedly shot up had multiple people in it. Their target survived the shooting, but 3 people in total in that car were shot. One of the people shot was a man named DeAndre Otis, and he was tragically pronounced dead at the scene at just 27 years old. The 2 other people shot were taken to University Hospital in critical condition, but ultimately survived their injuries. Just 2 days later, Mikeem and Carl Godfrey would allegedly commit another murder together. On February 17, 2021, Carl Godfrey's car was shot up by someone. The very next day, on February 18, 2021, Carl took Mikeem with him to get revenge. They went to the 2100 block of Millvale Court and started shooting. An innocent bystander named Donnell Steele walked outside to see what was going on and was sadly struck by one of the bullets. He would tragically be pronounced dead at the scene at just 30 years old. This was the last murder that Mikeem would end up being charged with, and he would soon be brought to justice. Mikeem and his associates would all eventually be arrested and charged for their involvement in the 4 murders. Robert Alley pleaded guilty to manslaughter and was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the death of Davon Lipscomb. Mario Gordon pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter for the death of DeAndre Otis and was sentenced to 13 to 18 years in prison. Jason Gray pleaded guilty to multiple charges and was sentenced to 37 to 41 years in prison. The driver, Connor Anabney, pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 8 to 11.5 years in prison. Carl Godfrey was found guilty of 2 counts of aggravated murder for the murders of DeAndre and Donnell and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Mikeem was indicted on 27 counts, 4 counts of murder, 14 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of aggravated robbery, 2 counts of robbery, and 3 counts of attempted murder. During the trial, the cousin of Terrence North called Mikeem out for smirking, but he just heartlessly laughed in her face.
You to come here laughing? Like it's a joke? It's no joke, young man. No joke at all. And they blame it on your upbringing? No.
Mikeem pleaded guilty to 4 counts of manslaughter, 3 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of robbery, as well as gun charges. He was sentenced to 31 to 36.5 years in prison. I used to think that child soldiers were a thing that just happened in third world countries, but nope, it's also happening in a rich country like America. The youth are being corrupted, and more kids have no empathy or regard for another person's life. R.I.P. to Davon Lipscomb, Terrence North, DeAndre Otis, and Donnell Steele. Let me know what you guys think about this situation in the comment section, and please be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.